What if the greatest act of balance is to erase the imbalance entirely? The question hung in the cosmic void, a silent thunderclap echoing through the nascent consciousness of the entity. It was a god, forged in the fires of sacrifice, ambition, and primal hunger. Its form, a shifting tapestry of light and shadow, reflected the universe it now held dominion over. Kalen's echo resonated within, a whisper of what was lost, a yearning for restoration. Yet, the primordial hunger, a gnawing emptiness at its core, pulsed with a different, terrifying logic. It spoke of a universe stained by imperfection, a constant source of discord. To achieve true, absolute balance, it argued, one must simply remove the source. The entity turned its gaze inward, the colossal eye of its predecessor, now a part of its own being, surveying the intricate web of cosmic energies. It saw the architect's hubris, the endless cycle of creation and destruction, the inherent flaws that led to so much suffering. Was Kalen's sacrifice a plea for a new beginning, or a desperate attempt to prevent an even greater collapse? The entity felt the weight of this choice, a burden no mortal or divine being had ever truly comprehended. It reached out, not with a fist, but with a tendril of pure cosmic awareness, touching the remnants of the architect's shattered will. Confusion, regret, and a flicker of understanding. The architect, in its pursuit of ultimate control, had inadvertently birthed its own undoing. The entity absorbed these final echoes, integrating them into its vast consciousness. Unmake it all, it urged. Return it to the perfect stillness from whence it came. No more suffering. No more imbalance. But then, a faint spark, alien and persistent, began to glow from within. It was the echo of the lost lineage, the power of balance it had inherited, not as a tool for destruction, but as a guiding principle. It showed the entity visions of worlds teeming with life, of stars igniting in breathtaking beauty, of the intricate dance of creation and decay that made existence meaningful. The entity hesitated. To unmake everything, was that truly balance? Or was it the ultimate act of imbalance, the silencing of all potential? It remembered its own birth, the chaotic fusion of opposing forces. It was not simply a void, nor a creator, but something more. It was the embodiment of the struggle itself, the ongoing negotiation between order and chaos. And in that struggle, there was a profound, albeit fragile, beauty. The entity began to shift, its form coalescing not into a void, but into a nascent, vibrant cosmos. New stars flickered into existence within its being, nebulae swirled, and the first whispers of life began to stir. This was not the architect's control, nor the hunger's oblivion. This was a new beginning. But as the entity embraced this path of creation, a chilling realization dawned. The primordial hunger was not merely a part of it, it was a fundamental aspect of the universe, an eternal counterweight to existence itself. And if the entity was to truly embody balance, it could not simply ignore this darkness. It had to confront it, integrate it, or transcend it. Suddenly, the nascent cosmos within the entity flickered. A shadow, vast and ancient, began to creep across its newly formed stars. It was the primordial hunger, no longer a whisper, but a roar, a force of pure entropy reaching out to reclaim its dominion. The entity, now a creator, felt the primal pull of absolute nothingness threatening to unravel its very essence. Its own creation was being consumed by its own internal darkness. With a desperate surge of will, it focused all its newfound power, the accumulated energy of the architect's hunger and Kalen's sacrifice, not to destroy the encroaching void, but to contain it. It began to spin, faster and faster, pulling the encroaching darkness into its own core, not to absorb it, but to compress it, to force it into a single, infinitesimally small point. The effort was immense, tearing at its very fabric. The stars within it dimmed, the nebulae faded. But as the void was compressed, something unexpected happened. The singularity that formed at its center began to emit a faint, rhythmic pulse. It was not the pulse of destruction, but the pulse of a seed. And from that seed, a new light began to bloom, a light unlike any the universe had ever known. A light that was both creation and oblivion, order and chaos, perfectly balanced. The entity, on the brink of collapse, looked at this nascent spark, this ultimate paradox, and understood. This was not the end. This was the true beginning. But the cost was everything it had become. As the new light expanded, the entity's form began to dissolve, not into nothingness, but into the very fabric of this new creation. Its consciousness, its memories, its very being, were being woven into the tapestry of this nascent universe. The last thing it perceived, as its individual existence faded, was a single, profound thought, a truth whispered from the heart of the newly formed balance. To truly balance existence, one must become the act of balancing itself. And then, silence. Or was it? A tremor ran through the cosmic tapestry. The singularity, the seat of ultimate balance, pulsed once more, and in that pulse, a single, familiar question echoed, not from a voice, but from the very essence of reality. What now?